And here we go. Let's see here. Our usual waiting to see if it connects situation. Okay, we are good to go. All right, and just to keep it, whoops, hold on. Just to keep it on brand, we are live. All right, Amalia Natalia of Karmic Kindness with Madeleine Parker.
Hello.
And we are here on this fine Sunday. For those of you who found us on Sunday, bravo for being here live with us. I know we've been doing a lot of jumping around. We are just
Maybe
very
it's a
busy.
better day. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, well, it's a bit. I think it's just we're busy ladies, but yeah, Sunday is kind of a nice day. We'll see how everyone what everyone feels about it. We've got the Aries new moon eclipse. Now, if we're following the story here, we had that Virgo full moon eclipse, and it was a total lunar eclipse. This is a partial solar eclipse. So we are in the portal of the eclipse energy, and it is powerful and it is potent. I'm sure Madeleine's going to be talking about the potency of this is because it's Aries it's the start of the zodiac. The potency of this is also because we have some of the outer planets changing signs, a couple of them into Aries. And so we have this push personally and then also collectively into a whole new paradigm, into a whole new way of being and seeing the world and existing. So we've got a lot to talk about today. Madeleine, as she and I connected, she was researching up until the last second for us all. So we love that Madeleine's going to come hot into this Aries new moon for us. So just some basics about what's going on here. So the new moon is on March 29th at 6:57 a.m. Eastern, which would be
Our time it is
3:57 a.m. Pacific.
Yep.
At 8 degrees 59 minutes. Okay. Two things I want to mention before we get rolling on this, and that is that Venus and Mercury are in retrograde. Venus, we talked about this last time, but just as a reminder, right now we're really being called to reevaluate what we consider valuable, how we value ourselves. And then that Mercury retrograde is also an opportunity for us to reevaluate how we think. So our thoughts around what we value and our belief system, how do we communicate that to ourselves and to others, or it's all part of this eclipse energy. Now, the Aries body gates, if you will, are the head, teeth, tongue, blood, arteries, muscles, gallbladder, and penis for men. Be aware of this. Just a little heads up. There could be
that makes sense because it's also the represented by the Ace of Wands in tarot.
Yes. So just be careful, there crazy things can happen. Just a little warning. I'm going to go over the impact chart. I'm also going to share the moon aspects and the flower. And there's so much beautiful synchronicities. I feel like right now that we are so incredibly supported that it is comforting in a way. Going through the discomfort of this portal period, which is not just right now, it's going to last quite a while and lay the foundation for a chunk of time in our lives, to know that we have the cosmic support behind us. All right, so we have the sun and the moon. They're hanging out in Aries. So we have both of the big time luminaries ready, willing, and able to support us on this path, the inner and the outer. Let's go. Aries is a fire sign. We're ready to move. We also have the moon conjunct Mercury. So this again, and Mercury's in retrograde. So we're really reviewing our mindset and our perception of our experience of our world. Be careful right now when you're making decisions. This is not necessarily the best time, and I'll share another reason why. And communication might be, um, there might be some miscommunications because of some emotional challenges that might emerge. Now, we also have the moon conjunct Neptune. So this aspect here is one where I feel like the decision-making process may not be clear. We have the sun, we have the sun and the moon conjunct Neptune. So we're going to be feeling a bit more emotional than usual, very sensitive. Neptune could be sensitive. There's a lot of imagination, and our imaginations might not be true to reality, but they might be there to inspire us in some way. So be aware of that. Because of that openness, we're also open to potential deception. So be on the lookout for that. Like, really tune into your intuitive knowing to feel if this is too good to be true, or if this person isn't who they appear to be. So because you're going to be able to sense other people's emotions and their thoughts in this time period. So if you're getting an indication that something isn't right, and the outward experience shows you it seems like it's fine, trust your own inner knowing. And then we have a really supportive aspect of a sextile, the moon sextile Pluto. So Pluto is about transformation. I think this was also, part of the story in our last moon cycle. I believe might have been a trine. So here we have an opportunity to tune into some deeply emotional truths that can then help us set up ourselves for success in our transformation. This could also be supportive in deepening relationships. So this aspect started in March 16th, 2023, with the new moon in Aries, then was also trine Pluto. So that's when this cycle began. So, there might even be some clues as to some recurring themes for you now. Think about Aries as beginnings, and think about Aquarius as societal change. So we've got this personal and societal shift that's taking place right now, and each of us plays a role. Each of us has a role to play in that change for the whole. All right, I'm going to share the impact chart really quickly, because I feel like it's helpful. Do you have something, Madeline? I can tell you want to say something.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that impact chart when I was listening to one of my teachers talking about the sun being a prism, and you're looking at the houses. What houses are you, like the angle, and like it's going through a prism. And so I remember, and then I just, that impact chart came to my mind, and it kind of looks like light going through a prism. So
Yeah, that's true.
that was interesting.
Let's pull it up here and we can take a look at it. Okay, so we have the cardinal signs affected. So you'll see over here, we have the moon in Aries. So any points or planets that you have between 3 and 13 degrees in the signs of Aries, Libra, Capricorn, or Cancer, you will feel this. This is going to be some fundamentally shifting areas for you in your life. So be very aware of what that could be for you. And you're right, Madeline, it does kind of look like a prism, the light here coming through, shining out and affecting people in different ways. Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
It is. It's really cool. It's very cool. So, I feel like that is something you can take that away with you. And then, Madeline and I were talking before we started about tropical astrology, Vedic astrology, and how they're different, yet there's overlaps, and they're all kind of telling a similar story. It's just through slightly different lenses. A couple weeks ago, or a couple moon cycles ago, I think it was for the Pisces new moon, I shared a gene key. Last week I did not, or last time I did not, because there was so much going on, but I really would love to share it this time, because I feel like this very much connects with what we're talking about and what we're experiencing now. So I'm going to share my screen again and show you, we have gene key 17. So just to give everyone a little bit of a background about the gene keys, if you're unfamiliar, the gene keys are a system created by Richard Rudd, bringing in astrology, the human DNA sequencing, and the I Ching. And so we're following these different pathways, and this relates to where the sun is in the sky at the time of this moon. So we have here, and there's three parts of this. So the bottom here is the shadow energy. There's the gift energy. And then on the top is the Siddhi energy, Siddhi. So what this means is that we can all fall into the shadow of opinion. If we follow the gift, or we tune into the gift of far seeing, or being able to be far-sighted, we can then come into a state of omniscience. Now, I know the question most people have is, what the heck is omniscience? This is something I wrote in. I post these on social media every 6 days, because this is when every time the keys change for the sun. Anyway, just for the sun. It's to be able to view the world and all the facets as beautiful and as part of the whole. And I feel like that's kind of what we were talking about before, is that each one of us showing up as our best selves, tuning into our divine mission here, then that contributes to everyone. What can trip us up, though, is getting caught in opinion. The opinion that others might have of us, the opinions that we might have of other people, the opinions we have around circumstances. It's almost like the idea of life is perfect with its imperfections. And then farsightedness or far seeing, think of that as being able to see through the heart. So you're not seeing through the mind's eye, you're seeing through the heart eye. And this, just again, another lens. And actually, you see here, one of the keynotes here is the eye. So it's all of these pieces fit together so beautifully. So my invitation is, on the new moon day, is consider these three words and see how they might play out into your life, and maybe jot down a couple of things. You could even take these three words and use them as a statement, bringing in, the opinion I have around blah, blah, blah. If I were to shift it into my heart space, da, 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 da. And in order to recognize that this is part of the whole, I can see it because da, 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 da. I don't know, just kind of off the top of my head, a little journal prompt for folks if they're interested in going further with that. What do you think of that one, Madeline, of that gene key?
I've been looking at them, but I'm not connecting on it. It's like I'm not connecting with it somehow yet. But I'd have to get hold of them and see. I have to start throwing them around and talking and seeing how it comes out.
Yeah, that's true, because you're definitely one of those, like, you got to get in there.
Yeah.
Like, get into it.
Yeah.
So,
I got to start asking questions and having it in my hand and see what pops out and how did I connect with that,
yeah. Well, and I still have to record a video.
I'm definitely interested in messing around with it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me. And then one last thing, and then I'm going to stop talking and let Madeline jump in here with all of her awesomeness, is the flower for this moon cycle. And I was so tickled. I just can't even, when it came out, I was like, I can't wait for Madeline to see this flower, because it is so Aries new moon. I can't even stand it. Okay, are you ready? Is everyone ready?
I'm excited. Oh my gosh.
Bam. The red hibiscus. Guess what this activates? A fresh perspective, and the message is hit the reset button, which is pretty much what we're all doing right now. We're in the midst of this tremendous change, not just for us, but for the collective.
Yeah.
Bright red, Aries, like bold, like let's go. We're ready to get.
Yep. That's the energy of when you first strike a match, or the fire first lights. It's like a fire that's like, shh, and then the fire calms down. Aries is the first flame. Leo is the third flame, which is more in the middle, kind of slightly more active. And then the long burning, long term, the embers is Sagittarius.
Interesting. Well, this looks pretty much like
that first part, the Ace of Wands energy.
So this also is it gives you the sense of a new start. There's a new start that's emerging, especially when you're feeling emotionally exhausted or emotionally stressed. And I think a lot of people are feeling that sense of emotional and just general stress right now. There's a lot of uncertainty, or at least a felt sense of uncertainty for folks. So this is also an opportunity for you to see how your life circumstances are contributing to your personal growth. So if you're feeling really overwhelmed or like things are so hard, what in your life is creating that experience for you? And is that an opportunity or an invitation to shift your perspective, perhaps, or take a different action? I feel like it's more perception right now, but not necessarily doing anything yet. It's kind of a balance of the two. For some people, you may, but I kind of get the sense it's more just being with what is. I'm sure Madeline's going to go more into that. And then for folks who are looking for a flower support for this, Inner Peace blend by Lotus Way, and all these cards are from the Lotus Way Flower Evolution deck. If you go to lotusway.com/Amalia and use my name, you get 10% off your first order. Inner Peace brings a sense of calm and confidence, and the red hibiscus particularly supports any relief that you might, a sense of relief after times of stress. So just a really supportive, to me, just like the perfect way to start this astrological new year and eclipse portal energy continuation as we march forward. And it feels like a little bit of hopefulness for some people. What are your thoughts, Madeline, on how this is shaping up for everyone in general?
You mean, well, we're already, feeling the eclipse because we're about a week ahead. So a lot of ecliptical things are starting to happen. I'm
Mhm.
noticing. Well, basically, I think it is a time of, because we're going through so many radical changes. Things are definitely in flux for many people, but the new things are going to stabilize around mid-May because we've got, not to bring everything into this because there's so many things happening, because we've got Saturn and Rahu connecting the North Node, which is really going to create a lot of shifts in people's lives. That
Mhm.
it's almost going to be hard to know what was that and what's the eclipse, but you know, but basically, this is a period where we're going to not be able to go forward as we've been.
Yeah.
And so we're making some sort of big, I'll jump in, I'll pop my notes up, but basically this eclipse is a huge reset and a cosmic reset. And, with that brings major endings and major new beginnings. So basically the theme of eclipses is major change.
Yep.
Now, and basically what happens in an eclipse is we're releasing what no longer is a part of our soul's journey. So we're in other words, anything that's not a part of this new life is staying behind. And that's basically the theme in general. And so we're becoming more and more clear on that with the retrograde planets and with the South Node in Virgo. But the other thing that's sort of interesting about this eclipse is that we're going to be doing something major new beginning. We're going to be very inspired to do something, start something new. But these changes that we're going to be instigating, them, or others around us are instigating them with us, or however it plays out in your chart. But it's basically as a result of having realized how we want to simplify our lives. But also, the first eclipse told us what we don't want anymore, and it caused an internal shift in us that gave us clarity. And then by the second eclipse, it shows us the actions that we're going to take. So that inner shift causing us to take actions. And usually the emotional shift is from the first eclipse is the thing that can be very painful. So a lot of these eclipses are disguised as painful endings, and really they're the beginnings of something much better. So a lot of eclipse season is difficult for some people because it heralds the endings of things that we might be attached to. Now, again, the things that we're ending are karmic. They're not for our highest good. We can't bring some of our karmic patterning forward. So we're really releasing, we're making big spiritual shifts here because we're seeing the karmic repeat cycles and choices that we're making. And as we make the new beginning, that's what the big shift is. It's working against that. We're moving against that. So we're becoming very aware of what that is with these planets in retrograde, Venus and Mercury right there. And by the way, both Venus and Mercury went into retrograde at 9 degrees Aries. So it's like Venus went retrograde, I think, on the 13th, no, Mercury went retrograde on the 14th of March. Venus went retrograde on the 1st. They both reached that 9-degree point. So things that happened around that time are very, very part of this eclipse, very much so. So look back and, look at your devices and see what comes up, but it'll be around clarification of what we want. And it's going to be an indication of the fated nature of those events or whatever happened. So
You said
basically,
April 1st. You mean March 1st?
sorry, March 1st.
Okay, so March 1st and March 14th,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Right.
And then Venus, and also we won't feel these eclipses until, I mean, there's a good chance things happen around a week before and a week after that are quite pivotal, things that happen. But we're not going to see maybe things moving forward until those Venus and Mercury meet that 9-degree point in direct, right? So we're resolving something first before we go forward. And I can see it in the readings that we are definitely doing that. But we're on the edge. We're on the edge of really clearing up, because we've also got that Mars square Chiron. Mars is ruling this eclipse, but Mars is in a part of the sky that really heralds transformational sort of breaking through the thunder or the storm, coming through the other side of a storm. And so, just for everyone to be careful, because these eclipses can bring natural disasters and things going on. So everyone should really be careful with that. But basically, these eclipses mark the beginning of major new chapters. And but the other thing about where Mars is in the sky is very much after after we clear some major karmic cycle, what do we want now? What happens is that we're going to simplify our lives, because a lot of that stuff that we're leaving behind is clutter. So we're really moving to more simple way of living. Oh, let me pop my notes on that, because it was kind of interesting. We're moving to we're releasing these. It's a karmic reset, because we're releasing these karmic bonds, but got to find those darn notes, because
Well, it's funny, Madeline. I was just talking to someone today who was over, and everything right here, when you see me, looks very simple and it looks very clean. But if
right.
I were to pan around me right now, it is pure chaos,
Oh,
because it's in the
interesting.
midst of moving. So
Yeah.
it is the simplification. It's the
Yep.
clearing things out and getting rid of things and selling things and donating things and
Yep.
throwing things away and recycling things. And it's liberating, but also very
Yep.
overwhelming. And I think that a
Right.
lot of people, whether you're moving or not, feel that sense of they have a drive and a desire to simplify their lives or kind of be more in tune with their passions, but
Yes.
it's overwhelming to take that step or even like know how to begin in some cases.
Yep. Yep. I mean, really, the less is more right now. We're starting new beginnings. I mean, yes, we're dissolving old past life baggages. A lot of possessions we own hold energy of that. You can feel it in the energies. Like, I get rid of tarot decks just because I know we're dealing with so much karma, and I can feel the energy of that karma in the deck, and I just burn it basically. And it fires up like crazy too. So
Oh,
yeah,
interesting. That's
yeah,
interesting. I
because I
haven't felt
don't
that with
make
mine.
shit. You
I
what?
haven't, I was going to say, I haven't felt that with my decks, but it might be because you use yours a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
deck starts to stick together, and it's not oil, it's nothing. It's an electric magnetic thing. They start to become a magnet, and I can't break them apart. See that?
Oh,
So I have to do something to either defragment the deck, because I mean, I do so many card reads a day.
yeah.
So
You're
I have
working those cards.
because and then I have all these decks, but they kind of start to bulk together. So
Mhm.
anyway, so yeah, so this is basically an opportunity. We're working on deep healing, we're cleansing, we're because that Mars and Chiron, we're restoring to purity about our lives. And basically you don't want to, we want to embrace this change. We don't have to, being calm. and allow the transformations to happen, basically. But that wasn't the note I'm looking for. I wrote something really inspiring, where we simplify our life. That was where it was. I wanted to put that there. But anyway, it doesn't matter if I don't find it. I'm not supposed to say it. But anyway, so this is so we're, yeah, new beginnings. They feel painful endings. We said all of that. So
Do you want to put the chart up and then maybe
yeah, let's
you'll
put
be
the
inspired?
chart up. Yeah, that'll do a lot. So let's share the chart because I will show everybody. And by the way, today is a day to be really cautious about because we have the moon. I'm just going to go to right now for everyone who's watching live. Anyone that sees this. So right now we're having the moon is in Capricorn, it's opposing Mars and forming a big T square with Chiron. Accidents, injuries, you're going to hear sirens out there. But also this is happening at a particular point in this transit where we really are perhaps resolving this issue. Like I've been having horrible teeth problems. You can see my thing was swollen all week. And this actually today, it feels completely better. I thought it was going to be so painful today, but it's completely better.
Oh, wow.
So it could indicate the end of this pattern, the end of what's been going on with this Mars squaring Chiron in our personal lives. Back to the eclipse. So sorry for I digress, but you know, it can be a dangerous accident, injury type of a transit. So this eclipse is happening at 9 degrees Aries and exact. This is an interesting point in everyone's chart. It happens to be right on my Jupiter, so it'll be interesting. Yeah, and when we've got the ruler of the eclipse in some sort of emotional state squaring Chiron, which is resolving a emotionally wounded issue, and also it's a bit triggery and could portend to challenges if this has a negative impact if your chart has a negative angle on this, it could be a crisis and an emotional upset and, you know, drama. But I'm just going there just in case. And also, by the way, these eclipses are really chances for us to practice our evolution. And the more less karma we have that we're continuing to do, because if we have karma going on in us during this eclipse, like we're still playing karmic dynamics, it's going to be like a pie in our face. It's not going to go well. It's going to be loud. So
I feel that.
Yeah. So, you know, release, let go, surrender, and focus on the new beginnings that are coming in. We're going to have a lot of Aries energy, is like you showed the Ashwini in Vedic. It's 2 horses out of the gate. It's the Ace of Wands in Tarot. It's like excited, inspired, new beginnings, ready to do this, jumping all in. It can be impulsive. And but with that retrograde planet and Mars being in a watery energy. So, oh, look, wow.
Oh,
wow.
Celebration time.
Watch what's happens when I do this. It gives a thumbs up. Did you see it? No. Sometimes
No, it's not doing it now.
Oh, sometimes it does it when I'm not even expecting it. I'm just talking to somebody and I'm like that, and it gives it a thumbs up. Anyway, so basically, yes. So these are powerful new beginnings that involve the transformative versions of ourselves and the new versions of ourselves that is rebirthing in these brand new energies. We're leaving behind, it's like a snake shedding its skin. We're leaving behind an old energy, and you know, this is very much a fresh start. It's if we live past this, it'll be great. But again, we're not going to feel our stability from these changes until mid-May, when Saturn and the North Node are not together, because the North Node represents the ecliptical plane, and the North Node is being impacted by Saturn and Mercury and Venus and Neptune. So this is just like, and also all those planets are in combustion, so they're not in their strength. You know, the focus is going to be mostly on healing and transforming. Whatever shows up on this eclipse is showing up for some sort of releasing, healing, a spiritual progression made around emotional growth, healing and emotional growth. Basically, it's like My notes, I had it, whatever. But but I study these because I find it interesting, and I go, oh, I wish I said that in my podcast, but whatever comes out is supposed to come out. But so
Exactly.
this eclipse brings spiritual growth and emotional development, spiritual and emotional health. Like that's where we're getting from all these planets being in Pisces. So now we're beginning these new beginnings. We're leaving these patterns that are just sucky. That, oh, see, we're
So
leaving.
yeah, we're leaving our patterns. The
Yeah,
universe is clear,
yeah,
supporting
everything.
us.
Yeah. And so what do we become? More spiritual. We don't need so much material. We're really waking up on all this materialism. Like we're really stepping out of that materialistic thing. So what brings us happiness and fulfillment, right? So these are new beginnings that will really last us, by the way, a good 30 years. If you're
Mm.
leaving a relationship now, if you're starting one now, if you're leaving one now, you're and starting one, because if it depends what house it's happening in, it's gonna last. Things that happen on eclipses go permanently, and new things stay for a long time. So I think that's all I have to say, unless I've forgotten something really juicy that I wanted to say and I discovered in my notes.
Well, I feel like if there's something juicy, it's going to come out when we go through the
Yeah,
signs.
yeah, you're right. If it's really important, it'll come out.
Yeah.
So, all right. I guess it's time to go ahead.
Yeah, I think we can jump into the
Uh,
signs. And I feel like to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, Madeline.
yeah.
And do you want to stop sharing the screen for a sec?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks for
Thanks.
telling me that. Yeah.
Um, so I feel like kind of what everyone is being invited to right now is to really get clear on, not even necessarily get clear, but be aware of some of the patterns that might show up for us that tend
Uh-huh.
to hold us back as far as how we think
Yeah.
and how we relate to one another as well. And then I really like the idea of continuing the following that energy of the past few moon cycles of imagining the type of life and the type of world that we want to live in. And then having a sense of what sort of action can we take for us individually, and then that's supportive of the whole. And I feel like that isn't that hard to do. It's fairly simple.
Well, this Aries eclipse is the last eclipse of the Aries Libra eclipses that
Hmm.
have been happening in the last 18 months, right? So yes, this is literally and I find from my experience in studying astrology that it's the changes those eclipses bring, you don't almost completely happen until that last eclipse.
Yeah.
So this is the biggie. And I
Like the
found what I
bow on the box.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
this is where you really are stepping into the new reality, the new materials destined beginning, all of that. But I found what I was looking for.
Oh, good. Good.
So in this part of the sky, it's called Purnavasu, which is where Mars is, which is ruling the eclipse, right? And it's about you learn humility, a simplistic nature. No matter where you come from, they are not materialistic and will always keep duty and honor above luxury and find the most simple answers to the most complex questions. Isn't that cool?
Oh, yeah, that is cool.
Finding simplistic this is about simplistic quality of finding solutions in the middle of storms and adversity, going back to being simple, being mindful and calm. This is therefore known as the harbinger of light and hope. See, I had to find those. Those are important.
Yeah, that was good. Who did you get that one from? Like where did what
That is, where did I get that from? Where did I find that one from? This is on studying the nature of the nakshatra that the Mars is on,
Oh,
called
gotcha. Okay.
Purnavasu. So you can go look up Purnavasu. That is the wisdom bringing energies behind that part of the sky. Some people say it's Vedic. I actually don't think it's Vedic. That is just the where the constellations are. And the Vedics did write about those nakshatras, but the solar system has shifted off on a precession to exactly 23 degrees off. But when astrology was first done, for like 4,000 years before Christ, is the earliest knowledge of astrology, they were together.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
original astrology used both together. So anyway, I'd like to do both.
Well, so this harkens a question for me Because
Sure.
I'm thinking like what you were saying, you know, you read off about simple answers to complex questions. And that can be all sorts of different areas of life for people, just depends
Mhm.
on their planetary placements. And we're in a period where I don't think we can see things completely clearly. And we're also in Mercury retrograde. So this is not the best time to make decisions necessarily. Um, However, life goes on. Life continues to happen. And so when this does happen, how do we best work with the energy that's there, because people still need to do what they need to do. And I'm noticing for myself, I'm having to make a huge decision about hiring a contractor for my new place, and I'm getting these quotes. I got 5 proposals, and I've narrowed it down to 3 people, really 2. um but when I'm comparing, they all write their proposals differently. So I it's not a simple comparison. And so I'm having to pull out pieces of each one, and then they have subcontractors that I have proposals for. So
Mm.
when it comes to making this decision, I mean, I tend to feel into the energy of it. But because there's so much happening in my world all at once, and I'm feeling the financial pressure of the decision, I'm having, I wouldn't say, well, I guess I could say I'm having a hard time with making those decisions, especially with the energy that's at play right
Yeah.
now.
I would wait till after the eclipse, not because of the retrograde, mostly because you're going to see how this eclipse is playing out in your life. What decisions you're going to make, because you're going to change your mind about something. You might make a really spontaneous out of the blue decision, which is what this Aries eclipse is all about. But I will tell you that I keep forgetting to mention that these planets in retrograde do involve things from the past. So if it is something from the past that returns, you'll get clarity, and that shows up again. That's clarity. Like a friend showed up from the past, and now they know that that was their true tribe. So it can be things from the past coming in. And yes, you can make a spontaneous out of the blue impulsive decision. Just try to think first, of course. So if it's a contract from the past that's come back over something to be done from the past, it's okay. So in other words, these shifts are going to occur by perhaps our initiation to reinstigate something from the past, which is what these retrograde planets are doing. And if that's okay. But if it's totally new, like a totally new contractor, and you're totally doing a new project, definitely wait after the eclipse, because you don't know what this eclipse is bringing, because most likely this eclipse is bringing something from the past returning again. So in other words, you may change your mind about moving, another situation, something's happening that's coming back from the past. So
Well,
you don't know yet. I would just wait till after the second week after the eclipse. And then you can't, if you can't, you can't. If you
yeah,
have
I can't wait that long. I mean, I'd like to, but I'm already like a month behind on that.
oh, well, then just use that intuition.
Yeah.
Well, hand any contracts over to somebody else for double proofing,
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for
because
sure.
you'll miss it in a retrograde.
Yeah.
You'll be
But I guess I get,
moving too quickly because it's in Aries. So I already saw myself kind of rushing and dropping and forgetting something. So it's like, that's all.
yeah, so I guess for anyone out there who's in a similar situation to me, where there's a decision, a pretty big decision that needs to be made, that has long-term ramifications.
Yeah,
And
they might do in this energy.
yeah, you know, it's if you can push pause and slow down the decision-making process, then do. And if you can't, um, you know, kind of what I'm playing with right now is going back in time in my mind to really feel into how I felt when I met each one of these people, like tuning into my initial feeling about them.
Oh, okay.
Kind of following the human design model for my specific design, where it's like you get that initial feeling, and then over time that feeling will either remain or it may shift. And like when it comes down to like signing on the dotted line, feeling that alignment is important. So, you know, I'm just to share for folks who might be in a place where they need to make a decision. Just because we have these planets in retrograde, Mercury's in retrograde, doesn't mean you can't sign contracts or you can't move forward with things. It's just like Madeline said, like make sure that make sure the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and there's not anything hidden that you're missing, that could come back to bite you later.
Yes, a lot of these new beginnings do show up around these eclipses, and they happen out of actions that we take and decisions that we make. So, but it comes from a place of the last eclipse where we had a realization of something. So, so yeah, if we're taking action right now, it's probably just make sure it's in alignment, and you're not, but if it isn't in alignment, don't worry, it's going to crash.
Yeah,
Go ahead, make a decision and see if it works. See if it lives.
see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into, let's start with Aries. They're the group of the hour here.
Yes, Aries. This is an interesting thing, an eclipse, because it is an Aries eclipse. So it's got this Aries energy, but it really partners with a spiritual transformation, because we had that Virgo Pisces eclipse before. So there we had that internal transformation about something and a realization. And so what did that do? So that it was a deeply personal inner heralding, a period of inner transformation, shedding layers of your old identity, stepping into much more your authentic self, right? So you're really knowing more of who you are from that reflective Venus and reflective Mercury. We're going to be talking about that. They're in retrograde, plus Mars, your ruling planet, is in an emotionally water. It's been in retrograde. So you're very much self-evaluating, self-reflecting, and taking, finding you really want to step into your more, when you're about to bring these brand new, inspiring, new, exciting beginnings, right? Spontaneously, impulsive, are going to come from this new authentic version of yourself that you discovered in these reflective energies. And you've had a spiritual awakening. You would have found profound spiritual and overcoming deep fears around things that have been holding you back. And so there's like a transformative, liberating thing that happened in that earlier eclipse. This is specific for Aries, because they would have had that other one in the 12th house. The sun was in the 12th. So they became aware of the fears and the source of fears that were preventing them from being liberated. And so, and so now they're having an overwhelming desire to break free from these mental patterns and old ways of being that have just completely limited their lives. And so now they're smashing through that, and they're really ready to start some sort of really inspired new beginning, with this sort of free sense, with a new clarity about who they are. And I would say with a renewed, that Ace of Wands, that card you showed, that fire coming out, they're fired up. I mean, watch out for Aries right now. Like, get out of the way, So, and with the Venus in retrograde, it's in your first house. So it's very possible you go back. You've had these eclipses in your 11th, your 7th, and your first house. So you've been going through relationship transformations, changes and shifts, or changes and shifts in your relationship. But there's a good chance some issues come up from the past, that get boiled up there, that are coming out, that need to be revealed, that need to be talked about with past partnership agreement people, or relationships, or romantic partners. But there could be a flare up with that, with these energies, that can come up. So it's like some sort of emotional outburst of truth is revealed for Aries too with that, but also resolution and the endings of that issue, that repeat cycle issue in your relationships, is over now. And you're now going to be ready for these new beginnings in your relationships, as well as, but really stepping forward more with a complete connection of who you are, and sort of a spiritual awakening, and having overcome some sort of major life fear, basically. These are big eclipses.
These are big eclipses, just so everyone knows. Well, we have now, this seems like a kind of a sweet flower, but it's fairly bold. And this is a wild geranium. And the wild geranium, I think, is interesting because if any Aries have been waiting for the right time, or the right conditions, or the right things or people or material to show up, now is it. Like this is that time. There is no more waiting. It's go time. And this is a period of time where you're going to be able to see the pure aligned action of the step that you need to take for your future. This is it. And this flower is a flower that will help you along that path. It's almost like, it looks a little bit like the red hibiscus, even though it's a different color. It's like that same type of flower, but this feels a little bit more like sweeter, where this one's like fiery. This is still, I feel there's like a little punch to this, but it's like feels more personal. So like this is for everyone's overarching Aries. And then this is for those who have, Aries, sun, moon, or rising, where you have the support, and now's the time. Like, you don't have to wait anymore. Yes, Madeline, I can
That
tell.
is so interesting. Pop that flower other one back up and put it next to that. So you
Okay.
know what those last eclipses have been doing for Aries?
Oh, well, the
First,
self and the other. Yeah.
selfish you and the other. So now they're learning to be nice to their relationships and harmonize better with their person. House.
Yeah, that's a
They've
great
gone from me selfishness to we,
we.
you
Yeah,
know, a little bit more balance there. They've learned how to harmonize and balance in their relationships better.
it's beautiful. And
Couldn't
this is
help
also
that.
that balance in relationships. It's just sweeter and softer. It's
Yes,
not
by
so,
being nicer, probably. By just
yeah.
being nicer, because Aries are a little they step on toes a little bit.
Oh, wow, yeah. So fun.
They can be bulls in the china shop.
Yeah.
Anyway,
At
I'm
times, not
probably
always. We love
hard
you,
on
Aries.
Aries. No, Aries are great. I have a lot of really great friends that are Aries. I get on very well with Aries, but I hear other people have problems sometimes with Aries.
I
I'm
get
wa-
along great with Aries too.
Aries and Cancer get along because we're watery and we're cardinal, and we flow with them. But some people can have a hard time with their sort of, you know, that energy. All right.
All right, Taurus.
Taurus, 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 Taurus. Okay, so that puts these energies of Aries into your 12th house, right? So again, this is a gateway, because whenever you're dealing with the 12th house, you're really dealing with breaking into your subconscious, like breaking through and really getting over some sort of repeat suffering, emotional thing comes, but it can come to rise. Some issues can come up. And but you have to confront something and heal it and look at it and deal with it. That's why sometimes these 12th house eclipses are hard, because they bring up unresolved junk. And then it's a little overwhelming, because that's a reason why it's under there. You don't want to deal with it. You're escaping it. It's a mental pattern, and you're going to break free from that. And this break free thing happens because this is a liberating house. And so then what happens is you feel like you're feeling like this sense of like buoyancy, you know, when you can get that issue that's, I mean, seriously, like we're looking at for Taurans some really horrible way of something in your life that's just causing just a repeat downer, like just a bummer deal that just isn't getting over with. You finally face it and do what you got to do to not let this happen. It's going to be hard, but you do it because you can't escape this anymore. There's something you're escaping. Now, Venus and Mercury in retrograde, it could have to do with conflicts in relationships and the way you communicate, and something that's out of balance in your relationships, or how something Taurus is doing in their relationships, where it's going to be trying to create stability, because Taurans like stability. So they either get angry when someone threatens their stability. So there's something in a relationship dynamic that's karmic, that they don't want to do anymore. And it deals with some sort of subconscious issue that they're facing about themselves. So then they're going to have these spontaneous new beginnings. They're going to feel very light, very buoyant, excited to travel, excited to go explore new heights, new ventures, feeling fresh and new from the inside, you know. And don't forget, the realization would have come too from that earlier eclipse in their 11th house, where they would have realized that they were somehow pretzeling themselves to fit in a tribe or be cool or do something, or something that they have to release there, which is shifted for them. So but these new beginnings come from a very sort of fresh, clean start, ready to tackle the world, feeling like they just aren't going to do this anymore, feeling like a new person. I mean, it sounds kind of like a first house thing, but it's actually just, it's a cleared subconscious, a full on like Drano. There you
Well,
go. What card you got?
this flower is one that to me is the epitome of like, let's just clear it out. This one, the black bat flower. This is the one that
Wow,
when
that's so
people
crazy.
this is so a one that people see it and they cringe and like, oh, and I feel like any activation in the 12th house is kind of like that. It's not really very comfortable, and you're looking at little the depths of yourself and all the icky sticky stuff, and just like you were saying, it's like all the things you didn't want to look at, and now the black
Yeah.
flower is really encouraging you to look at it. And the reason why is because now you're going to look at yourself with a sense of fierce compassion. That's one of the keynotes for this flower. It's going to bring strength and confidence into your world. So it's not something to be fearful or scared of. It's something that you can be fearless around and step into a place of advocating for yourself, advocating for others. You're not going to necessarily just go with the flow because you don't want to look at something or you don't want to deal with something. You're going to be ready to take it on, speak your mind potentially, and shift, transform.
Yes, very transformative energy. And it's sort of like coming out of your ugliness. I mean, I know that sounds like a weird thing, but that's the feeling I get about this. Like something that's just causing a low vibrational experience in your life.
And
You know,
you don't need to have it.
yeah. And you fly above it, like, oh, get me out of it. So that could really be anywhere in your life. It could be like in your work environment, like get me out of this work environment, get me out of this relationship, get me out of this way of operating in relationships.
Yeah. Oh, Madeline, guess what?
What?
We forgot to do the cards. Okay, so we'll start at Gemini.
That's Aries energy. It's on, I'm telling you, it's hitting my chart, or I just go too fast. Look, that thumbs up is there. That's like I'm rushing. I'm trying not to. I didn't have any coffee. I've quit coffee.
Really?
Yes, because I feel like I get too hyped up on it.
What about decaf?
I like decaf.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't like caffeinated. I mean, I'll do a half calf maybe, but very rarely. All right. Well, you can use the flower cards as kind of an indicator for
Yeah.
each one. So
So far it was just two. You caught it. Good
yeah,
job.
yeah.
It's because I got
Sorry,
all
I
the
didn't catch it sooner. All right.
Okay. All right.
Gemini
So
crew.
Gemini's hitting in your 11th house, right? So
Yeah.
don't forget, if we were going to go longer, we would go into the other houses ruled by Mars and, look at the whole picture, but we just don't have time for that. But I just want you to know, we're really just zeroing in on the house. But there's other stuff going on in everybody's charts with all the other houses and but we're just going to talk about this. There's enough to talk about just with the house. So for Gemini, it's in the 11th house. So basically you're releasing old connections and friendship groups and tribes group that no longer share your values, and you're dissolving these sort of connections that aren't spiritually aligned with you, that don't feel authentic, that just don't feel real, and that would have been you being just trying to be social and trying to make friends and trying to get out there and do it all and da 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 da, but not really knowing who was real. And then not everybody's headed the same way. Like you do have this is about getting into our soul's journey, continuing our soul's journey into the right direction where we've been off. The more off you are, the more the shift the eclipse makes. So you're really been off on a lot of wrong friends that aren't really supportive of you, aren't like emotionally sensitive to your callings or your issues or what you're working on. So basically the wrong tribes are going to rise to the surface. It's so interesting. My friend who's Gemini, her son, she just got in from the last eclipse, reconnected with somebody she knew in art school, 20 years ago. And this person has come back, and now she's going to collaborate with him and the group of people. And she realizes these are all her real tribe. That is exactly this eclipse for Aries. The realization this was her true tribe, and now they're initiating bold new beginnings on a project that's starting a whole new chapter in her life.
That's
This,
cool.
yeah. So that's the 11th house, and you're looking for more emotionally supportive and bonded connections that really support who you authentically are, and that there's a mutual authentic respect for each other. But the biggest spiritual release that's happening for Gemini is the idea that everybody's your friend, and Gemini are very friendly. But it's not that they shouldn't have all these friends, but that comes from remember, we're simplifying our lives, and there's baggage. These people that are baggage, they take up too much time and energy from what you're really focused on. We have the wrong friendship groups. It's a waste of your time. There you go.
um I feel like, were you directing that at someone specific or just overarching?
In general, I would say in general, why the Gemini are learning you can't just be friends with everybody, or, have all these connections and keep it all going. And they're very, very mercurial. They can chatty chit with a lot of people and be very busy and have a lot of connections, but they're gonna they bump into ones that are not as supportive as they should, they should be giving more time to the ones that are supportive and emotionally enhancing.
Well, so this flower, the saguaro cactus flower,
Yeah.
it's very interesting because what you were talking about, Madeline, very much connects with this flower in terms of dissolving disharmonious or misaligned intentions. And that could be intentions from other people or even with you. I mean, some Geminis may have this idea in their head of, oh, well, I'm with this group because of this reason, but really maybe it's a self-serving intention, or maybe it's one where they're giving too much. Either way, it's not aligned with them. Now they're going to be making choices based on purity of the heart, and it'll really foster a sense of fearless independence. So they might have to go their own way for a little while and not be so concerned about all these different groups that they're trying to be friendly in, or they're trying to find a way to fit into. Now it's time to maybe take a step away and to tune back into what your heart is calling for you to experience. And that may be taking a step away from some groups. I think the key piece of this is dissolving any disharmonious or misaligned intentions. So,
And
saguaro
also,
cactus.
yes, and I think that yellow flower indicates their authentic version coming out too into their tribe, like being around people that they can really shine as who they are.
Well, and personal power too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That aligns with that for sure. So
All
now
right.
we're going to look at for Cancer. So this is going to happen in their 10th house, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, their 10th house. And this is about basically the 10th house is basically careers. So that's going to be career breakthroughs and aligning. Basically, you're going to dissolve old ways of working. I've had these eclipses in my 10th house, and I still can't quite see how it's changing my career. But anyway, it's happening right on my Jupiter, so I'll let you know. But I'm just deeper and deeper into it, but we'll see what happens here. But this is basically a transformation in your career. So it's like
I wonder if it's also legacy, Madeleine. So you won't necessarily see it yet, but it's, also the impression that people have of you, like that's shifted for you over the past few years as well.
Yeah.
And maybe now you'll start to, could be that as people's perception of you changes that relates to your work or how you present yourself in the world, that starts to bring more abundance. That starts to shift things more, especially if you have a Jupiter there.
Yep.
So,
My Jupiter's 9 degrees Aries. Exactly.
oh,
I know. And it squares my Mars Rahu, Mars K2, which is really positive. It's really powerful. I have an exalted Mars.
ah,
And it trines my North Node in my first house.
Okay, so this is, I mean, that's
Yeah.
good stuff.
So basically, my notes say that it's basically, you know, a new path aligning more with my what is it, a career that is more in alignment with my true purpose, basically emerges. So we'll see how it emerges. So basically, for Cancer, and then again, this has got the Mercury and Venus retrograde, where we're becoming more clarified about what we want, where we want to head back, who we want to do it with, and our methods and ways of communicating that we need to shift. But also, it could also be writing projects coming back from the past, or relationships, partnership agreements coming back from the past for co-collaborative projects, and that are really, because Cancer rising have cleared a lot of codependency issues, so it's a good chance it involves their spiritual counterpart, or their true, let's say you're a musician and you are now aligning with your true band, because seventh house, it's making it's making a square to that seventh house. So basically, when it's a cardinal eclipse and it's hitting on your cardinal points, your whole life changes: relationships, identity, living, and where you live, your career, your what you look like, and who you're with. It's basically all four. It's like, woo, like a big shift. So for Cancer, yeah, so you're just looking at a big shift with it all in your 10th house, and it is a good chance these are projects and situations from the past coming back, or lessons learned from the past that enable you to make new agreements with a much more balanced and less and a more healed, I would say, also with an awareness of what your true soul's journey is going forth as of now.
Hmm. Okay, interesting. Well, we have the passion flower for Cancer.
Ah,
And what I find interesting about this is just the name, passion flower. You know, it's with your career, your the way you're showing up in the world.
passion projects.
Passion. It's what are you passionate about? What lights you up? What
Mhm.
fires you up? How about that? What fires you up? That Aries energy. And this passion flower here, it encourages you and like really supports you to let go of mental chatter and stress. So all of the blah blah blahs in your head and the stress in your life that might be keeping you from actually following your passion and putting it out there in the world, just let that go. It heightens your awareness, your intuition, and your spiritual connection, which is really cool. Think about that. Think about coming from a place of those three working together in order to step out onto the stage of life. And the remedy for this, kind of the path for this, is rest, sleep,
Mhm.
resting, sleeping. Those that inaction is almost the action you need to take in order to prepare for what you're getting ready to do. So I really love this. And I love that there's two flowers here
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, it's a relationship looking transit, because you know what else? Mars rules Cancer's fifth house of relationships and creative projects. And the fifth house is passion projects, collaborative passion projects.
Uh-huh.
So that's what that looks like for Cancer.
Good stuff.
And you
Pretty
know
good.
what? Cancers are ruled by the moon, Leos are ruled by the sun. Eclipses are especially powerful for Cancers and Leos. So expect big changes and shifts in our lives. Big time. Okay, so now who are we on now? We are
Leo.
looking at Leo. So that's going to be in your ninth house. So
Hard,
this,
Madeline.
what am I doing? Oh,
Hard.
Leo. So Leo in your ninth house, this is dissolving old beliefs and old opinions and old perceptions, dissolving away and finding out that they were not spiritually aligned with your soul's purpose. Some kind of a belief or some kind of a perception is gone, and the eclipse may hurt. You know, you may have these big realizations, and they are a little bit painful because you were so sure. You know, a
Ugh.
lot of, you know, and you thought, no, how could this be? You know, like, for instance, a conspiracy you always thought was a ridiculous conspiracy is now true. You suddenly go, oh my God, hang on, I'll be right back. I gotta close my window.
Okay.
Oh,
Just while we're waiting for Madeline, as she said that, I like literally felt like almost a gut punch.
did
Um,
you?
yeah,
About,
like, what is that? What's gonna be
oh,
revealed?
yeah, but you know what? Usually it's more spiritually and more aligned. You wake up to something. I used to get worried about that too. I'd say I'd see an eclipse hitting in my ninth or something. I think, oh, I'm going to find out I'm really wrong about tarot or astrology. And every time I'm surprised, I get some kind of weird confirmation. You were so right. And then I go, oh my God, I transformed to believe in it even more.
Okay.
So it's a transformative eclipse in that way that's going to bring you more onto your soul's purpose, onto your true journey, and you're going to be really and you're going to step more into your dharma because that is a dharma house. So you're more in aligned with a new belief and a new system that empowers you to make inspiring new beginnings in this area. And it's inspiring, like you said, you want to jump out of your seat. Could be the gene key thing. You take it forward. Don't forget with the Saturn there. Remember, these reflective energies are making sure we align with something that's really something we can commit to for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to really transform a belief around something that's been holding us back to our path. And so when we have the shift in belief, we now step onto our path with a dharmic commitment, with a purpose, with a devotion, with a soul commitment to it because we know it's an alignment because we have that breakthrough, that spiritual breakthrough. We see the truth because the ninth house is the truth. I have a lot of planets in my chart that show that I'm a truth seeker. I have Sagittarius. I have a lot of planets in my ninth house. So really what I am is a truth seeker. So a lot of like layers of truth become clear, become the journey towards the truth opens up more. So, universal truths like spiritual laws, the Hematic principles, learning about them. Also, maybe going to school and starting or starting to teach or starting to learn something, deciding to go to a spiritual journey, traveling. Traveling is actually, people think traveling is tourism. It's actually not. Traveling is spiritually and consciously transforming us and evolving us. It evolves us. We that's why I always saw the difference between people who traveled and the people who didn't travel was the people who traveled knew that there were so many different ways of doing things. The people that don't travel think it's really weird when anyone does something different, So basically you open up to the sort of other cultures and when you do, you always get some kind of a spiritual awakening because you understand a more spirit. Usually they're slightly more spiritual than our culture. If you're traveling somewhere, you know, in Asia anyway, you're going to find more spiritually sort of and other cultural, like for instance, I have Rahu transiting my ninth house right now, and I'm studying through the Vedics a lot. So you study and you want to learn through other cultures, other cultural beliefs, and other. It is literally snowing outside my window. That's why I had to go close.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's snowing. I can't believe
Wow.
it. Anyway, so we're going through a spiritual transformation for Leo.
All right. Well, Leos, again, everything you said so connects with this flower. And at the same time, I feel like this flower is it's to me, it's like it is a fresh start. It's like clear the slate, maybe something is coming to the surface, but you've got an opportunity. See, you can't really here, there we go. If I hold it at a slight angle. This is the banana yucca. And as you can see, there's like all these different petals coming off of it. So it's like all these, to me, I see it as like all these potential opportunities or pathways that you can take. And you maybe haven't seen yourself clearly. Maybe there's been this like hidden potential or sense of purpose that's been like hiding under the surface that now has risen. And now is your opportunity to step forward into that. You may find that you have a secret talent that you didn't know that you had. This is also a really beautiful energy of support for collaboration and leadership. Leos like to be leaders. So this is another calling to step forward into a leadership position. And when you do follow your passion, when you do follow your sense of purpose, not necessarily your passion, they could be the same, but your sense of purpose, then you will see that you will be able to move with unexpected leaps and bounds towards whatever that goal is that you have set for yourself. So the banana yucca feels like
A
just like
spiritual, very spiritual awakening and spiritual breakthrough.
yes. It's almost like a bird too. Doesn't it kind of remind
Mm.
you of like a dove or like a peaceful, I don't
Yes,
know.
because one of these things about these eclipses is, it's raising your vibes we really are raising our vibes in this eclipse because we're leaving all that lower density stuff behind. So it's like, and that's empowering. So whatever the belief system that shifts is empowering because that yellow is empowering.
Hmm. Yeah, beautiful.
And don't forget, Leo are ruled by the sun. So you will
Yes.
feel it.
All right, Virgo.
Virgo. So Virgo, this is in your eighth house. So when it is in the eighth house, this is where we are changing our changes and shifts related to joint resources, financing, and basically releasing attachment fears to financial security. So in other words, we're taking more risks, we're letting go, we're being bold, we're taking initiative actions, we're not holding on to our pennies like we're starting to have a bit more courage and taking risks. And this is a transformational house. Again, this is, I hate to keep using that word, but the eighth house is the house of transformation, is a death and rebirth. So it is really, really likely that this eclipse marks the initiation of a very financially abundant new start for Leo, a very inspired new energy. But again, with that,
You mean Virgo?
sorry, Virgo, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, you're welcome.
But it's a good chance with the Mercury and Venus in retrograde that you know what you really want. You're going to get clarity around those things. Again, it could be resources and ideas from the past or partnership agreements from the past returning, but it could also be a refining of clarity in exactly what you are willing to take risks around. And again, it will involve more in alignment to your soul purpose. It will be supporting your soul's journey, and it will also be a breakthrough and a certain amount of courageous new beginnings. Because again, that's a Mars house, it's a moksha house, it's a liberating house, it's inspired, you're breaking through and leaving these old fears that are holding you back, fears of spending money. I can see my son going through this. And taking bold new beginnings in joint resources, because I know he went to some kind of event just the other day where he was going to, where you can maybe compete for financial loans and lendings and support to a business, a small business operation, and he wants to start a small business. So you could get that on this eclipse. You make a decision to go ahead and fill in an application and risk getting into debt. And by the way, if you do, don't worry, you'll win. I've watched eclipses in the eighth house, taking financial risks, working out, going into debt. It pays off double. And the eighth house is a house of sudden wins or losses. If you lose anything on this eclipse, let it go, let it go. Don't worry, something better is about to unfold.
Yeah.
And if anyone passes, eighth house eclipses, just to not, people can pass on an eighth house eclipse, but again, it's divinely intended. It's God taketh, God giveth, and God taketh. That's
Hmm.
that house. That's that house. But God will giveth if he taketh.
Yeah. So here we have Brugmancia for Virgo. And this reminds me a lot of the last card that we had too. It feels like it's kind of telling a story, those two
Yeah.
together. Um, and what I find interesting about this, hold on, my notes are blocked. There we go. Is this flower enables you to surrender to being vulnerable. Virgos tend to be very practical, organized. They don't really want to ask for help. They're the helpers, not the helpies. So this is
Hmm.
really giving them an opportunity to ask for some support, to loosen their tight grip of control of how things need to be or how they think they ought to be, and really flow with um like a surrender of the flow of the universe, just allowing things to happen for them, and just be easeful about it. It's like let go and let loose. That this is the key to their success this moon cycle.
Yes, absolutely. And that really does look like that, doesn't it? I mean, because they had that last eclipse right on their ascendant.
Yes, they did. Hmm.
So, that's like they've really had an awakening about just going more with the flow and relaxing and not being stressed out, neurotic. Sorry, Virgo.
Well, and the other thing too that I noticed about this flower is it has these 4 points on it. It almost is like the
Yeah.
4 directions,
Hmm.
and it's almost, to me, it feels like it doesn't matter which path they take, they'll be okay. Like there's opportunities everywhere. They don't need to be so worried about making a wrong choice or a wrong decision, it's all okay. They'll end up where they need to end up regardless of which choice they make.
Yes. And doesn't that look happy?
It does.
Like freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're
It
being
does.
more their authentic selves and all of that, in a relaxed way.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Libra.
Libra. So Libras are having this in their seventh house, right? Aries covers their seventh.
Hmm?
And that is basically opening up your heart to meaningful connections and deeper bonds. And it's also basically, you know, because of the Mercury, your ruling planet is in your seventh house in retrograde with Mercury. You're really reevaluating some of the choices you made, some of the thoughts you had, some of the ways and patterns and commitments you've made, agreements you've made in the past. You're really going through a lot of self-reflection and also who you're really in love with. Libras are so intellectual in their heads, they sometimes don't know what they feel. I find it strange, but I'm all moon and water. I always know what I feel and who I love. But other people don't have that clarity. So anyway, so basically you're releasing relationships and patterns that don't serve your highest good and that throw you off your soul purpose and your soul's journey. Although that is part of your soul's journey, to lose your soul's journey. So and so something comes to an end. So if you're in the right relationship, it won't come to an end, but your way of operating in that relationship or some sort of fears in that relationship, or something really changes in the life of your relationship, or you like change, you move in together, it goes up to another level. But you change a karmic loop in that relationship that's holding it at bay. So you shift something, you have a realization, you shift it, which now brings it more into the next level or more connection. And so basically you're going to sort of start developing the relationships that you can build a very strong a bond on mutual respect. Um, but basically, mostly what you're healing, Libras have a preemptive desire to end the relationship because they get into relationships really quickly and they end them really quickly, but they're always preemptively ending them, thinking the other one isn't going to choose them or is going to bail first. They're preemptive. I read for a lot of Libras. They all do this. They're preemptive leavers. They think the other one's going to do it, so they do it first. So I think that's what's leaving for Libras. I think they're getting out of that patterning. And what they want to start doing instead is communicate, because you got that Mercury in retrograde. So you're going to change your repeat pattern. So instead of bailing, being triggered, thinking that the other person's bailing, you stay and you talk. So something changes. So these are, and then once you do, you have a breakthrough and you have a realization because of that other eclipse, who your person really is. And the only problem in your relationship is this karmic patterning, but it can still be your true person that you're going through this with. So now you decide bold new initiation, take bold commitments to devote yourself. You become very clear. That last eclipse brought clarity, who you really love, because I saw that happen. And then you take bold shifts now to jump all the way in, make these bold initiatives. These spontaneous new beginnings that happen in these Aries energy, they seem like they're just unthought, but we've gone through a lot before we make this decision. So powerful new beginnings, new chapters in relationships, partnerships, business as well. It could involve lawyers. You could hire a lawyer at this point that really liberates you, free from some sort of experience. I mean, seventh house can be lawyers. Sometimes it's a landlady. You sign a contract with person. That's a new relationship. Anybody you sign a contract with, let's just say an old contract ends and a new one begins. Go ahead.
So we have society garlic for Libra. And I love that there's like a collection of flowers here. It's like a group. So it's not necessarily like 11th house, like huge community, but it's like you've got choices. You have options here, maybe for a love relationship. You are now able to cleanse maybe lust feelings and move into a place of spiritual love. You are now unaffected and you are not influenced by the external. So you're not making relationship choices based on others. You're making relationship choices based on you. There's no longer that fear of someone attacking you for a choice that you make. And you also have the confidence to be able to take a stand. So take a stand to speak up for what it is that you want in a relationship, what you want in a partnership of some kind. Perhaps it's not romantic, perhaps it's some, business venture. So I love Society Garlic for Libra because of the opportunity that they have for shifting their relationships, whether they be personal or professional, and be able
Mm,
to really stand firm in who they are and what they desire. So
yeah.
society garlic.
I mean, it's sort of hard to really see what that means for me, but I mean, I guess maybe they see multiple people differently. Maybe
Well,
decide to get in a relationship with lots of different people, 3 people, or maybe it is a third party energy that they're clearing up, that they're breaking through on. Maybe they have had a hard time. They've had so many options, because
Mhm.
Libras, they usually ruled by Venus, so they look wonderful. So probably lots of people want them.
Could be. Yeah, could be. But now they're going to make a choice. They're going to
Yeah.
actually stand firm on who they're choosing versus maybe
Yes. Any,
bailing because they're scared they're going to get hurt.
yeah, right. So they keep the options open.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. But yeah, anything that isn't part of your soul's journey now is going to stay behind. So, all right. So now we are on Scorpio. So that's going to be in your 6th house, which is a challenging house. It is the hardest house. But it is stepping into more balanced and fulfilling lifestyles. It is for your good. Whatever happens in this, as much as you don't like it, it is for your good, and it is transforming. And basically, your daily routines have to change. Something has to change that you're doing on a day to day that's not creating you the right health benefits or stabilizing. You're going to start some inspired new beginnings in a routine, in a health, but also work related projects and of service. So, something in the way that Scorpio have been of service, or some routine isn't working, is either causing stress. Um, Basically, on a day to day level, it can be a health issue shows up in that other eclipse, and or some way of operating. Like, for instance, I'm going to give you an example. Scrolling around aimlessly on YouTube and just watching a bunch of shorts for no reason, like kitty cats and dogs meeting each other as puppies. You know, Guilty as charged. I quit doing that on that other eclipse because I realized it was a real time gobbler.
It really is.
I'm like, shoot, I'm behind on some things. And here I am watching horses and puppies, cats jump onto the back of horses. I'm like, oh, how cute. But like,
I wonder if that was a Pisces effect from one of the other because Misha's uh, a Pisces ascendant, and he sends me so many cat videos or
oh,
animal
really?
videos, or
Yeah,
I could. So you've got some Pisces in your chart too. So I wonder if it was some Pisces thing.
it might be. I mean, we're empathics, we love the animal thing because it just always makes it's this total escape.
Yes.
100%. I'm not dealing with something I'm procrastinating about, and I know exactly what I'm procrastinating about. I've got a pile of mail over there I have to go through, and I don't want to deal with it.
Like
That's that, and I'd rather,
kittens and puppies are cuter.
yeah. So, so the 6th house eclipse for Scorpio, there's stuff like that that's coming in that you've got to really start being more disciplined about, more focused on time management skills better. But because with an eclipse there in your 6th house, there's a good chance you feel very ignited and very inspired about doing something new that's going to make you very, very busy. And again, we're leaving behind our old complicated lives, drama, issues that get in our way that cause us to want to escape. So, so basically, we're shifting and starting a new chapter in how we organize our time and manage our days and our spiritual practices versus busy and stress. That kind of wraps it up.
Okay. Um,
Does that make sense?
yeah. This one, uh, I think this one's interesting because we have the banana blossom
Okay.
here for this
Another.
one. This one
Okay.
feels very much work related, but yet there's also the offshoot of health. Because if you're not feeling good, you can't really do your daily work. So it's almost like you need both. And there will be a focus on both for Scorpios in some way. One may be, so let's just say for some Scorpios, health is the bigger focus, and then that will influence work. Or maybe work is the bigger focus and that influences health. However, that plays out for each Scorpio. And anyone who has a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, you'll know pretty quickly which one it is. This,
Yes, thanks for reminding me. Sorry, but a
yeah,
work situation could go away, a job could go away on that eclipse in your sixth house. So yes, sorry.
yeah. So you'll have a sense. So
Mhm.
this flower allows you though to, let's just say that you've been interested in a project, but you haven't been able to actually get it going. Like, you know what you need to do, you're just not doing it. This is going to give you that little push that you need in order to bring that into reality. It also gives you confidence to accomplish your prioritized goals, which I feel like is such a supportive energy for anyone that is dealing with change in their day-to-day life. I mean, I know for me personally, it can be really hard to shift my day-to-day practices because I really like how they are, but some of them I know really aren't necessarily optimal for me. But in this time period, I'm being forced almost to change them. Um, this also is telling Scorpios to slow down a little. Yes, it's time to take some action. Yes, it's time to do some things, but in the doing, you might need to slow it down in order to integrate whatever that is in a different way. Um, and here's a big one. I love this little tip. Do something within a specific time limit. So give yourself a deadline to accomplish
Mm.
something. So let's just say, all right, I'm not like, we'll take Madeline's no coffee. As of Tuesday morning, I'm not having any more coffee. Or if there's a project that you really want to do, as of Wednesday morning, I'm going to have that video recorded and posted online. Like, give yourself specific actionable goals to move towards within a time limit and see if that helps you shift your day to day, your work, and your health. There you go.
Yeah, and that does spark of a new beginning away from, 'cause you know how that bud is going this way and there's a tail the other
Huh?
way. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like that's the north node, the south node is the tail of the dragon, the north node is the head of the dragon. So it does
Uh-huh.
look like, you're moving in your north node, you're doing in your purpose, your calling, you're stepping into your true purpose and a
Yeah.
new beginning because it's a bud. So it's like this new beginning.
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Take a look at for the the fifth house. So that's going to be for
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Yeah. So this is hitting in your fifth house. So that's passion projects. Wow, that's hitting for me in the fifth house twice a little bit here. So yeah, so we're looking at creative expression, transformative, so
Whoa.
endings, big endings in friendships or connections that aren't really a part of your new future that somehow did not match with who you authentically are, that were not a part of your soul's journey, and also any old creative projects that just aren't succeeding, that may have involved relationships that aren't really a part of your future sort of dissolve away here, and now we are inspired and excited about a new one, or an old project does finally show its fruit. And now we're really moving away from a situation that doesn't work and feeling really excited and inspired about a new situation that does work, and it's a new passion project. And now it could also be children, it could also be having children. That's a passion project for sure. um and again, we've got Saturn there, and I want to keep interjecting that into each house, but I think I've forgotten on a few of them that this does involve a devoted, committed, long-term project that does feel in alignment with the soul's journey. Again, if it's not, it will not work out in these energies. It will be blocked. I remember once when I was buying a property, I said, if I can't afford this, God, angels, whoever's around me, block this, block it. I invited all the energies in the universe, block this deal, stop me, don't let me do this. And it went through like a hot knife in butter. So, so good. But I'm just saying, that's like, if it's not good for us right now, the universe will intervene. So that it'll, and these choices feel inspired and exciting, then you're right. If you want to jump off your chair and go do this, it's right. Although I suppose I should warn. Aries is the energy of impulsively acting without thinking. So with all these energies in retrograde, hopefully you've put a lot of thought into it. Hopefully.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's an interesting approach, Madeline. You know, most of us, I feel like, go down a path of, okay, show me which way to go,
Right.
versus if this is not meant for me, block it.
Yep.
Don't let me go that way.
That all the
And
time.
that's a really, I like that. Just
Yep.
to mix it up sometimes, you
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
sometimes that's easier. That's an easier path to take, or an easier approach for guidance to come in for us, that it's, if it's blocked, then we know, oh, okay, this isn't quite aligned, you know, if we're getting caught up in our mental chatter.
Yes. And I also pray for God to intervene in my own decisions that I make. Like if I make a plan to drive on a road trip or something, I say, block me if that's not the right day, block it.
Huh, interesting.
So
All right.
yeah, that's just one way to do it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
You know,
the reverse way.
well, and I think there's, having different approaches for different things gives us more options, and
Yes.
that's good. All right, so we have the let me see where I can hold this. Here we go. The chocolate daisy for
Yeah.
Sagittarius. Sorry, I can't hold it closer. It's kind of, you can't see it very well with my light.
I
Uh,
love that for Sagittarius.
I do too. Oh, here we go. That looks kind of better. I love this for so many reasons. Okay, first of all, one of the key themes that we've been talking about for this Aries new moon eclipse is simplicity, simplifying.
Yes.
That's the key to this flower. Simplicity leading to joy. So I think that's just fantastic. I feel like this would be such a great one for everyone to tune into. This also is a flower that supports you in the ease of doing things. So we're talking about projects or even kids, maybe you're looking to get pregnant. This is a time it might be easy for that to happen. Tune into this flower. I know I was working with a really good friend of mine, and as a gift, I did some session work with her, and she and her husband were trying to get pregnant. And
Mhm.
so we did some cards, we did some meditations, we did some energy work, and she kept seeing yellow flowers and yellow everywhere. And I
Hmm.
said, okay, get some
Interesting.
yellow flowers, bring yellow into your home more, visualize yellow when you're meditating, visualize yellow when you and your husband are having sex. Bring in that color, bring all of that into your energy, because you're literally being shown that that's going to be helpful for you. And she got pregnant not too long after that.
Wow.
Now, there was
Interesting.
also another piece of that puzzle where there was um, that was one part of it. And then there was also a spirit in her house that was blocking her as well, which we had to address, but she did get pregnant. So, this might be a great flower for somebody out there who's looking to get pregnant. If you are not looking to get pregnant, take precautions. This also has a really beautiful energy of getting unstuck. If you're in the paralysis of confusion around something, this will clear the way, makes things easy, ease in doing things. And what I like too is, like, when you look at each one of these petals, they're like separate and defined and delineated pathways, is the way I see it. And you don't have to, like, how some of the flowers, they've got all these petals and they're kind of clustered together, and you don't know where one is and another begins. This is like this. Like, let's just take the peony. They're all stuck together. This, they're spread out. So you've got all these options, and it's simple. It's clear, but it's just getting out of your own way of maybe your thoughts, or um, you know, Sagittarius is like connected to so much wisdom. Simplify, simplify. You don't need to go so broad. Like, I'm going to use you as an example, Madeline. Looking at tropical and Vedic to study a specific transit, which is amazing. But if you're looking, let's just say Madeline was looking for something specific and she got lost in the sauce of all of it. That don't think that would happen with her, but just as an example for folks. Being able to, like, just simplify to one pathway, and then really hone in on that, and then bam, you have the answer. You know what you're looking for. So chocolate daisy for Sagittarius.
Nice. That's exciting because the fifth house for Sagittarius, it's like, I'm gonna say that it's almost like the ego because the sun, that looks like the sun,
Hmm.
you know? So it's almost like the breaking through the truth, breaking through the ego or what you think, sort of,
Hmm.
because the fifth house can be the mind, actually. It is one of the intellectual houses of the mind. So it's almost breaking through what you thought, into something that is really core, the core soul coming through this creative project or creative endeavor.
Cool.
So,
That's nice. That
yeah,
sounds lovely.
interesting.
All
All right.
right. And
Now, did I put the Sagittarius card up?
uh,
I don't think I
I
did.
don't know. All right.
Capricorn.
Well, here we are at Capricorn.
Capricorn. Okay, so this is going to be in the fourth house. So when an eclipse is in your fourth house, it's healing family issues. You've been healing these issues for a while because the nodes have been there, and you're finding inner peace, healing family matters and finding inner peace, right? But also it's cultivating a new family and a new way. So basically, we're about to begin a new home, a new family situation for Capricorn, a new home living environment, inspired new beginnings, but you've got to heal this repeat situation that's occurring in your choices of how you live and where you're living, who you're living with, or you've got to heal some sort of family mother wounding issue with Mars being in Cancer, squaring your all your cardinal houses, so you're really healing a deep mother wound that's impacting you from either being able to make a fully long-term committed living situation. So there's some repeat problem that happens in your living environment that stems from wounding as your childhood. So this is a brand new beginning, healing that's aligning you with a really authentic living situation. I keep thinking of my ex-husband who's Capricorn. He's living with a group of people again. And I bet this would be the eclipse that helps him now have the confidence to go live alone or to live, to break free from maybe a family pattern or a group of people that he's living with and moving, or to basically be bold and to take initiative in general to upgrade your living situation and leave another living situation. Maybe you just have poverty mindset because it comes from your family, and so you're living in a condition that you could do better if you just spent the money or decided to, that kind of a thing. And because this is, the Capricorn likes a lot of long-term security, so this is sort of like karmic emotional issues and drama preventing you from living in a sort of a stable long-term living environment, which now changes. So we're looking at a new committed place of living for a really long term, a new family sort of environment, a new family home.
Well, we have the night blooming Sirius for Capricorn.
Interesting.
And the energy I was getting for this was was this was support more on the mother realm than the home realm, even though they could be connected together.
Mhm.
Um, the night blooming series, if you think about it, this flower blooms at night. And so when this flower comes out, you're looking at something that could be potentially dark or hidden. And so maybe there's some sort of dynamic with your mother, whether your mother is still alive or not, that is holding you back, that is keeping you from working on or moving towards something that you have your sights set on in a bigger way. This flower dissolves subconscious limitations, which I love that concept of
Mm.
being
Boy,
able
that
to.
is it. Sorry.
No,
Yes, that
so what were
really,
you going to say, Madeline?
well, that just hits that right on the nail, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Subconscious issues from your mother.
that are limiting you, that are
Yeah.
holding you back, that are not allowing you to step into the role in which you really would like to.
Mhm.
This flower is a message is take the leap. So maybe it's having a conversation with your mom you don't want to have, or maybe it's speaking up in a relation in that relationship when you haven't before, and feeling a sense of fearlessness around it. And maybe it's something you don't necessarily even have to say like physically to her. It could be that you have a conversation with her etherically. You connect with her energetically and have a conversation. I've done that quite a lot with family members that are no longer here, that I've had some friction with, or something that comes up that's unhealed. So this doesn't have to be something you have to do where you got to make a big fuss and you got to bring up something from 20 years ago that you're upset about. It can be done energetically as well. But the night blooming Sirius for Capricorn feels like a really strong foundational place for them to lean into when they are met with the challenge of having to deal with some of these ancestral wounds, mother
Yeah.
wounds too.
Some of the things you said really put me in contact with some of the things I've been going through. And I have like, well, I've got my Mars and Capricorn and my Venus and my Mercury in Capricorn.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
really making a connection with some of the sources of my issues in my mother. And I know it's obvious and we all know that, but in these reflective energies, I've been making a lot of breakthroughs with that. And like
Mm.
some of the ways my son and I have problems, some of the issues between one of my sons and I know they stem from communicating from a place of defensiveness, because Cancer can be defensive rather than a place of, wait a minute, do I misunderstand you? Or do I understand you
Mhm.
correctly? So anyway, it's complicated, but it's like, obviously we can't bring these wounds with us. They create ways of operating in our families that are toxic.
Yeah.
So we're clearing toxic patterning in our families. That's what that hole in the center, it's like that hurt, that wounding in the core center. It's like a core center wounding that we're
Yeah.
clearing, and the toxicity that that wound creates in our dynamics in our families. So we're healing family wounding dynamics. Good one.
Yeah.
Felt good. I got a feeling in that.
All right, Aquarius.
Aquarius. Okay, so let's see. What house is it for Aquarius? It's going to be in your third house, right?
Yep.
So this is like basically I almost didn't do it. You're finding, you're reevaluating your ways of communication and changing and evolving and learning about styles of communication or whether you communicate. And you're transforming, you're gaining insight through possibly conversations with other people or reading and learning and research, but transforming the way that you communicate and speak and the reasons you communicate and speak. So this is a deep, profound shift that could play out in outward changes and shifts in the way you communicate, but also can be that you change the people that are around you. You change neighborhood, you move, you again, this is a media house, so you end a website. It's not your true authentic self. You're not communicating the way you really want to. It's not coming from your heart. It's not in alignment with your soul's journey. Um, you're going to feel more compelled to speak your truth in these energies. You're getting a lot of insight with those retrograde planets there in your third house. You're getting more insight and connection to what you truly desire, what you want to do. Basically, perhaps maybe a writing project, media project, you want to start something new. But again, this is coming from something that's deep in your soul that you want to do, that is humanitarian, because you're Aquarius, that serves humanity, that inspires you. And it could be from the past, being that these planets are in retrograde. It could involve a partner, being Venus there. But this is compelling you to speak your truth and in a way that is mindful and, shall we say, more aware, um, with empathy. And also, we're going to see endeavors of short distance travel uh, um, and learning. So yeah, so perhaps you decide to go learn something and you have to do a lot of short distance traveling, but basically inspiring new beginnings and learning something in a media project, in a website, in your own ways of communicating and corresponding with people, and gaining a lot of insights, but also maybe just gaining insights in what you do want to initiate. It could be in other areas of your life. It could just be a total all around internal reinvestigation and deciding where you want to take initiatives in your life. Maybe you want to move, maybe you want to start a new job, maybe. So that could just be all around, right? So basically inspiring new beginnings involving communication, writing projects, media, short distance travel, and learning.
Well, we have the jade succulent, whose message is around clarity about what you want. And this, when I look at this too, it's like, here are all your options. This could be a new neighborhood, new people that you spend time with. This could be new ideas that are waiting to come through you. This could be different projects that you are thinking about taking on, but you're not quite sure yet. This enhances a feeling of life force energy and presence. So there is something that wants to come out right now that maybe is ready to be written or expressed in some way. And so the jade succulent will be a really helpful ally for Aquarians who are ready to do that.
Yeah, and it sparks my also ways of looking at the third house, which is the ideas,
Yeah.
like exciting new ideas that inspire you, and you want to share something, and you start to and you decide you do want to share it on social media and get it out there in the world, right? And you're inspired by it, and you maybe want to teach it or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There you go.
right. So now, last but not least, this is a good one because my son is Pisces rising, so I'm always you know, hoping for good financial advancements for him. So yeah, so this is going to be in the second house for Pisces. And so this is abundance and self-worth, basically reflection of your self-worth, and abundance reflects that. So it's a financial shift and or a financial way of earning your money, but also discovery of hidden talents and being very inspired and excited to initiate in these things, but also maybe ending something that wasn't really your talent. And that isn't really your path, and your soul's journey will come to light and may be sad to let go of. But again, we're in having realizations around all of this stuff. And but we are sort of shifting the financial landscape in general for Pisces. And then we've got new financial opportunities surface. But again, it could involve people from the past and projects from the past, and there may have been miscommunication that needs to be cleared up, or you had a misperception about what was happening, as Pisces can do that. Um, we all can, of course, but my son tends to really hang on to those a bit. So anyway, so then we're looking at our patterns of financial management, and there are old ways of managing our finances doesn't serve us. And perhaps it came from a low self-esteem or lack mentality. And it's a time to realign your values and how you earn your money, aligning with what you truly value. So it's almost like making an inspired choice to earn money in a way that's really authentic and more in alignment with your purpose and your soul's journey. And so we're really looking at a powerful new chapter starting in a way to earning an income that's going to last a good 30 years or so. I mean, these are committed and in a way that you can truly be devoted. And I think I know what's going to happen to my son as I'm speaking. He's going to become more of his authentic, true artist, the artist that's his true artist, because artists always do this. When you study, I've studied artists most of my life because I was always interested in the art field. And I did a lot of history of art. And when you study an artist's development into their brilliance, they spend many years, like lots of years, looking like another artist, imitating an artist that preceded them. Not maybe 100%, but using that pattern of lighting or that kind of a palette or that kind of a subject matter. And then all of a sudden they make the shift into who they truly are. And then they find their voice, they find their individual thing, they find what's them. But that's poverty until that point, because Pisces can walk quite a long path of poverty till they discover that they're just walking somebody else's path, and that they find their true authentic voice. Then they find abundance, then they hit abundance, right? So that's what I think is for Pisces. They start to step into their true authentic voice. And remember, Pisces is really ruled by Jupiter, but Neptunian in nature, which means they're confused a lot. They don't know, they're like lost. So it's the lost Pisces now found, and grounded into a stable income. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Oh,
I'm
feel
praying.
that as a mom and for
Yes.
your son too.
Yeah, because a mother's never really happy until both are, both my two kids. I'm obviously speaking for myself, are, are stable.
Yeah. Yeah. That does feel a lot more comforting as a
Yes.
parent. Well, we have the euphrasia for, let me see if I can, for Pisces. And when you were talking about like kind of lost, this flower to me feels a little bit lost, but yet they're finding it's finding its way. There are these like, and again, we've got that yellow center again, there's more of that energy happening with the white also, similar to the night blooming Sirius as well. So this
Yeah.
this flower
Yeah.
has to do with being decisive when you've been indecisive for a period of time. Now
Mm.
is the time to you can be decisive. And how are you making those decisive decisions? By tuning into your intuition, by trusting your instincts, by no longer doubting yourself, by acting on opportunities without hesitation. This is the opportunity from an energetic standpoint for Pisces to really take off and thrive. So I really, really love this card for Pisces.
I always forget to mention this about the second house. It's how you value yourself.
Hmm.
Value. Maybe we did mention that.
You
in-
did.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so really seeing your value and look at how those other two, all the little other flowers are drooping away. And then the one flower is, you found the flower, the big one works. That one's working. The other ones, you're turning your back on all the other ways that didn't work to earn money. And now the right way shows up.
Yeah.
That's going to last. You can be devoted to.
I love that for Pisces.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wraps up all 12 signs and
Yeah.
definitely a jam-packed, full cosmic chat. I recommend anyone that's watching live go back and watch the replay. Anyone that's catching the replay, you maybe revisit this again during this eclipse portal because, and even go back and watch the Virgo full moon one because I think the energy is building and you might, if you're here and you're a little confused, it's like, wait a minute, go back and maybe watch that one for your sun, moon, and rising, and it might help clarify things for you right now, and then be able to move forward in a way that's really in tune with what your soul is attempting to get you to see and do. So lots of ways that you can connect with the flowers, with the words that Madeleine shared, with the energy that we brought here. If you want a closer, deeper dive into the astrology, Madeleine's always available. If you would like to get a better understanding around the gene keys and how they affect you, that could be another avenue of curiosity, especially if you've got like the ninth house, any Sagittarians out there who are curious. There's more information that can be had on my website also. I don't know, is there anything you wanted to wrap up on, Madeleine? Any last final words about this Aries new moon?
Just, don't, let the things fall behind that aren't supposed to come with us and be ready for brand new initiations of exciting new chapters in our lives. It's an inspiring new start to a much better life because we're really purified now in our motives and in our karmic energy field. So this is pretty magical, really, time. Magical new beginnings, I would say.
Well, we hope that you join us in 2 weeks for the Libra full moon report. We will post on social and let you know when we are going to be holding that. But we are here for you in the meanwhile. If you need anything, our information is below. I'm also going to leave some information about the flower of support and the inner peace elixir, serum, and mist that people can use if they want to have some external support that's also internal. and we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, and share, and all the good stuff, and we'll see you soon.